As we're a week away from the 2023 season coming upon us and free agency officially beginning, I think it's time that we give our final pre-free agency 2023 Pittsburgh Steelers NFL mock draft.
Absolutely. Let's just get right into it, man. Not wasting any time with the 17th pick. The Pittsburgh Steelers select Peter Skoronski, offensive lineman out of Northwestern. This guy might be the safest pick for the Steelers come draft day because you can't go wrong with wherever you want to play this guy. There's a reason I called him an offensive lineman because obviously he's a dominant offensive tackle. He showed that at the college level. But due to his size and his arm length concerns and just the way he plays, it might be best that he fits as a guard at the next level, specifically a left guard, which clearly the Steelers need an upgrade at. And this guy would be a day one starter, an immediate upgrade. And if they do want to switch him to left guard, I think that's a perfect fit. And the guy can absolutely play.
I think no matter where he plays at, left tackle, left guard, I think he's going to be a dominant guy on the offensive line wherever he plays. I do believe that whichever team he gets drafted to, they will give him the opportunity and the chance at left tackle. If he can't, take his career to the next level at tackle, then you can slide him in at left guard because of his size concern, and you're still going to get a hell of a player at that. You're still going to get a great caliber, great player on your offensive line, and the Steelers need that.
And that's why we call it the safest pick when it comes to the Steelers for draft day, because no matter where you put this guy, I think he's going to strive at the next level. This guy has it, man. Seriously.
And he has what the Steelers love when it comes to NFL bloodlines, as, believe it or not, he is the grandson of Bob Skoronski, who was a 5-time NFL champion and 2-time Super Bowl winner with the Green Bay Packers when he was an offensive tackle for them back in the 60s.
So there you see is some intrigue there for the Steelers, definitely. You know they love the bloodlines for sure. And honestly, man, I think just going offensive lineman first round is the way to go, and prioritizing the line in any way possible is a big thumbs up for me. That's why in each of our pre-free agency mocks, we had left tackle in each and every single one of them, and they were all the top 3 guys that hopefully could be there at 17.
Yeah. Skoronski being one of them, I mean, he has the utmost talent and potential to go top 10, arguably top 15.
I mean, let's be real. Either of the top 3 left tackles do.
They absolutely could. I mean, neither of them could be there at pick 17. But, with Skoronski's concern and stuff like that, that could cause him to drop, potentially, depending on what happens in free agency with the teams ahead of us. Maybe they don't need left tackle or offensive lineman in general. Maybe we can strike with one of them. Whether if it's Skoronski, Broderick Jones, Paris Johnson, I think that's a win-win for the Steelers.
Yes, and that's why this is, again, a pre-free agency mock. Maybe they do upgrade left tackle or left guard in free agency. They fix up the line a little bit, fingers crossed. One position I don't see them upgrading, in fact, a position I hope they kind of retain certain guys hitting free agency this year is the cornerback position. And there's no doubt in my mind the Steelers are going to go cornerback early. It's just a matter of where. I think they're absolutely going to go corner before pick 49 or at pick 49. At least sometime in the top 50.
Yes.
And in this one, we have the Steelers selecting Deonte Banks, defensive back out of Maryland at the 32nd pick that we got from the Bears. This guy's a huge sleeper, man. A big rise with the combine. Obviously, he has that Maryland connection, which the Steelers adore maybe a little too much. And let's be honest, we haven't had a lot of success out of drafting guys from that school. But Deonte Banks has the potential and the promise to be one of the better guys to come out of that school in recent years.
Yeah, without a doubt. He's got great size for the cornerback position. He's 6 foot, about 200 pounds almost. Great speed as he ran an official 4.35 at the combine. So he's got the size, he's got the speed.
And he absolutely has the coverage skills, man. This guy is strong. He's physical. He's not afraid to get dirty.
He's a very sticky cornerback. And we haven't had that in quite a bit.
No, this guy is very much like glue. Let's be honest, man. This guy is really impressing me, and I think he's definitely going to be on the Steelers' radar just because he's a need. He thrived at the combine, really rose his stock. There's actually first-round talks with this guy now because of what he showed in the combine.
Yeah.
Now, because of how many names are at the cornerback position, I don't know. He could sneak into the first round, but if he's there at 32, he's definitely going to be higher on the Steelers draft boards. No doubt in my mind. And Banks is just, he's quickly becoming one of my favorites at that position.
Yeah.
Is Deonte Banks.
I have to agree.
I think him at 32 would be a home run pick. And definitely someone we could build to be the future at that position.
Without a doubt.
And definitely prioritizing cornerback early, which I know has been a huge talking point from a lot of you guys, a lot of Steelers Nation. And it's true. We got to go corner early.
And even if we retain Sutton and give him a long-term deal or resign him to whatever deal, cornerback's still a need because, neither of our guys are truly number ones.
No, and if you look at the position in terms of numbers, William Jackson's about to get cut. Witherspoon could be cut. Let's say we do keep Sutton, right? I mean, we're still very bare in terms of numbers and just dependability.
Of course.
And depth. Bringing someone in like Banks, man, to pair along Wallace and hopefully Sutton if we resign him, I think that's great, man. Now, with that being said, the 49th pick. The Steelers have a very strong chance of sitting at 49, and they could go linebacker, they could go defensive tackle, they could go safety, they could go anywhere. They could absolutely go best player available. I feel like 49 is a really luxury pick because if they do attack certain positions early with the first 2 picks, they could be sitting at 49 like, well, what do? Do we trade back? Do we go best player available? Is there someone that we really like that's sitting in our laps? I don't know, man. Only time will tell. Draft day will tell that tale. But I think 49 is so perfect to possibly go best player available. And in my opinion, that could be DeJuan Jones, offensive tackle out of the Ohio State.
And let me tell you, dude. Let me tell you. He's a massive human being.
This guy, man, would absolutely be a steel beam at right tackle. Now, here's a couple scenarios I'm going to run at you, man. Here's a couple scenarios the Steelers could run with this guy if they do select him. Now, we already selected Skoronski at 17, right? You could put him at left tackle, or you could put him at offensive guard, left guard, move Chucks to left tackle, if they do keep Chucks, and then insert this guy immediately at right tackle. And this dude would be just a force right there.
Yeah.
I mean, he was so difficult to get past in the Senior Bowl. And you've seen Mike Tomlin standing right front row watching this guy. You know he's already falling in love with the mammoth in DeJuan Jones. Seeing what he's done at Ohio State and just seeing his size. Now, I'm not going to lie. My immediate concerns when I saw his measurements, his frame was, I don't know, he might be best suited at guard because of his size. That might affect his athleticism. I don't feel that way no more.
No, even with his size, he's a very fluid offensive tackle. He moves very, very good for his size, and you see it on his tape as a good pass protector, but especially as a run blocker.
There is very much to like with DeJuan Jones. And if they do select him and they do double dip at offensive lineman early, or specifically offensive tackle, a lot of scenarios, like we said, Skoronski at left guard, Chucks to left tackle, him at right tackle, or he could just sit under Chucks for a little bit, maybe push Chucks as a starter at right tackle, or since Chucks is coming into a contract year, maybe they draft this guy to sit under Chucks and then take that role later and keep Skoronski on the left side, or possibly Chucks just doesn't get retained. Maybe they cut him for cap reasons, and then right tackle is a hole.
And you have Skoronski there at left tackle if he pans out there.
Right.
And you got 2 future tackle guys in Skoronski and DeJuan Jones, potentially.
I think that's there's a lot of scenarios with that selection, man. But I like every single scenario. I really do.
Yeah.
49 is a great pick for the Steelers to just sit at, and they could go anywhere. But for this one, we're going to go best player available, and that includes double dipping out offensive tackle and offensive line, because we've been saying all offseason offensive line needs to be a priority, and I think double dipping on offensive tackle and just being so open and versatile with anybody on that line is a great problem to have.
Yes, it is.
Now, heading into the 3rd round with the 80th pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Keanu Benton, defensive tackle out of Wisconsin. We finally go defensive tackle. We go defensive line. It seems like 80 is kind of that prime pick to go this position, because not only do the Steelers need the position, but they could strike pretty much anywhere late day 2 at this position to get a certain guy. And that's kind of Andy Weidl's thing, is he can find those late day 2 guys and still get a gem. A guy like Benton, man, gives me very big Javon Hargrave.
Yes, he does.
Just vibes. I think he's very impressive. He was very athletic in the combine as well. I think his stock rose a little bit, but if he sits there 80, I think it's a no-brainer because it's a position of need. He's a great player. I mean, Benton is definitely going to be one of the better ones coming out of this class.
Yeah, and a very underrated player at his position at the same time. He's not the fastest. He may not even be the strongest, but the guy plays very hard. He plays very good. He's not the perfect prospect. You know, he's not a finished project yet, but that's the great thing about him. You know, you got Carl Dunbar still coaching the defensive line coach right there. You can have him build him up and get him ready to take that starting role potentially.
Yeah. Benton is definitely one of our favorites and definitely going to be a steal sometime day two for sure for anybody. Now, going into the 4th round, man. Now, a position we haven't addressed yet is linebacker, and that is a concern. That's definitely one of the bigger high needs for the Steelers, right? There's the possibility they attack it in free agency, or there's the possibility they just keep Jack and really like the potential of Mark Robinson. Either one is a very likely scenario.
Yeah.
Obviously, we hope they attack inside linebacker in free agency, but let's say they do that, right, with anybody. There's a lot of names out there. That doesn't rip inside linebacker completely from the draft board.
That doesn't roll out the position.
No,
for the draft.
Not in the draft at all. So in the 4th round, we go Dorian Williams, inside linebacker out of Tulane. Not only as a project, not only as a depth piece to work with Robinson, behind Jack, behind someone we could pick up in free agency, but Williams is just so impressive for where he's going to be selected. I feel like he's already far along in the position. He already shows so much potential in coverage, in the run game. He can blitz. He obviously has that sideline-to-sideline speed. I'm not really that concerned about his size. He could bulk up a little bit at the next level, but that's why he would initially be a depth piece and could potentially work up into as a starter. I think he has that potential, man. He's definitely one of our favorite mid-round sleepers at the position.
Yeah.
I really like this guy's potential, man. I absolutely see it in him.
Yeah, you get him in with this linebacker group. You get him to learn and be taught with Aaron Curry, our new inside linebackers coach. You have him be as a project. You have him start off in special teams. The guy has the utmost potential to be a solid starter in this league. And you look at the position, like you said, say we sign a linebacker, right? You have that linebacker in Miles Jack, but Miles Jack may not be here forever.
In fact, he might be coming into his last year in the black and gold. We don't know. So
why not think long-term and get yourself a project and a guy like Dorian Williams to potentially replace that guy?
I think this guy would be a perfect project. And when we say project, we don't mean like he's raw, like he's Mark Robinson raw, like he changed positions to be a linebacker. He's not like that. He's actually very far along in his position and his progression, which is very impressive. I think this guy would be a very good, I don't want to say project, but more so like a trainee under Aaron Curry in his first year as inside linebacker coach. Not only to test Curry, but also test this guy and see where his progression's at. But I think the two could collide well, and we can see something nice in this guy.
Yeah, potentially.
In the 7th round, man, we don't have a pick until the 7th round, which is going to be exhausting. But we have 2 7th-round picks to make up for it. With the first one, we need edge depth, don't we? We need bodies. We need practice squad guys. We need bodies. We need people to just fill in for the position and for training camp. In the 7th round, we go edge with Brenton Cox Jr., edge out of Florida. This guy is strong. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
He plays faster than what his 40 showed. He's just very strong, man. Like, you see it in his tape. Like, he has an assortment of pass rush moves, a lot of stuff in his arsenal. He's physical. He's good against the run. He has that pass rush ability. I don't know where he'd stand in terms of depth or the training camp, but I think because of how bare we are now, this is before we sign anybody, before we could see what they do at the edge position. Bud Dupree is expected to be released. We already made a video and a discussion about us bringing him back. That would be immaculate. I would love to bring Bud back as a depth piece. That all depends on Bud and where he wants to be in his football career at this stage of his career. But we still need bodies nonetheless, man. And Brenton Cox is just impressive.
Yeah, he's a real solid. He was a real solid piece in Florida. I think he'd be a real solid piece as edge depth. Edge depth is a real concern that we have had for quite some time, probably since Alex Highsmith's rookie season.
Now to close out this mock with the 7th round pick, we finally go receiver in the Steelers mock draft. I know, crazy, right? Yeah, the Steelers select Demario Douglas, wide receiver out of Liberty. This guy's a speedster. We need more speed. We have Calvin Austin coming in for what is essentially his rookie year, if he stays healthy. But that's all the speed we really have. We still could use extra speed at the position. We also could use depth. We could use bodies for training camp. And we could absolutely use competition in the slot and at the return ability. Now, my concern with this guy in the return game is his muffing problem, which let's be honest, speaks Steeler.
Yeah, it does.
But I think he could clean up on that. And no matter where this guy plays, man, whether it's in the slot as a deep threat in the return game, in the rushing game as an end-around guy, which we know Matt Canada adores, this guy's just explosive.
Yeah.
Not only because of his speed, but his yak ability. His hands are very impressive. And, of course, you know, he has that Liberty connection, which, let's face it, man, the Steelers absolutely were just watching and really zoning in on the quarterbacks last year, one of them being Malik Willis, who came from Liberty, and Douglas was one of his top targets. So, you know, when they were looking at Willis, they were looking at Douglas's tape.
They had to have been, yeah.
And I do think that is truly something the Steelers are looking at.
Yeah.
Not only are they looking at the guy they're really targeting, but they're looking at the surrounding targets and the surrounding stars around that certain guy. And that's kind of why they landed DeMarvin Leal last year, because they drafted a couple guys from Texas A&M the year prior. Then they selected Leal in the 3rd round last year. So I think that same possibility could happen with Douglas from Liberty.
It very well could. And Douglas, you know, the thing about him is he's a very small receiver. He's like 5'7", 5'8", barely 175. So he's a very small, very scrawny type of receiver. But don't let that distract you from the fact that this guy can play on the football field. And you get him in there to work on special teams, to work as a return specialist, and maybe even work in there as a receiver, because I feel like his hands are slightly underrated.
Yeah.
I feel like he's got some strong hands for a guy of his size.
I think this guy could possibly come in and kind of swoop the job from like a Olszewski or maybe an Anthony Miller or a Miles Boykin, just because he's that type of worker.
Yeah.
And I think the Steelers, and Matt Canada specifically, could use this guy to a lot of things if they want to get creative. And this guy just brings so much versatility and potential at any way on the field. It's an attraction for the Steelers.
Very.
But anyway, guys, that will close our final pre-free agency mock for the Steelers, man. Now, again, this is pre-free agency, so we are hoping that certain positions will be filled and attacked in free agency. Thus, we can select certain positions over others. We hope they attack linebacker. We hope they attack defensive tackle. We hope they attack edge in free agency, maybe even corner, right? We shall see. But again, this is a pre-free agency, and I'm hoping that our next mock is a lot different so that
we actually have an understanding and an actual, you know, look upon of what positions we could actually look at throughout the draft process.
Exactly. Hopefully that's the case. It happens every year, but it's all a matter of when the Steelers get to work. You know, we're kind of really dragging here, just waiting for some news. I mean, we're kind of used to it as Steelers fans, but I feel like this offseason is just kind of really important with Kenny still under contract that we're so impatient. That's just us as Steelers fans. We're going to get news regardless soon from Con and Company and the Steelers, but this will close out our final pre-free agency mock draft edition for the Steelers, and our next one will come sometime after free agency hits. We shall see what the Steelers do in the first couple waves, what positions they attack, and hopefully that just adds flexibility for the next couple mocks and gives us a look at what they will be targeting come April. Anyway, guys, let us know your guys' thoughts and your mocks down below, and definitely check out SteelYoungers.com, and all the upcoming news and updates and thoughts on whatever the Steelers do will be coming to the Steeler Culture Podcast every Sunday. So hopefully Steelers get some news done quick and we can start discussing. Otherwise, let us know your guys' thoughts and your mocks. Here we go, Steelers. See you guys in the next one.
And like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!